If you rely on your skills, then you don't have to worry so much about the product or the material. It's more ego where they don't want to say, okay, like I had to do this mirror in two pieces. I did it in one. Look at me. Wow. See how they wrap the vehicle versus how I would have wrapped the vehicle. Otherwise, there's no reason for people to come and get this done. So most of the time, what I see with professionals is that they think that they're too professional. They most likely understand and they know why these mistakes are happening. They just don't want to pay attention to these mistakes and understand and go back and take the responsibility for them. Let's say we overstretch the vinyl. It's very common. It happens to me too. When I'm wrapping a mirror, for example, a mirror is very tough in most cases, one of the harder areas of the car to wrap. It is the area that is one of the most common areas to fail, which means that we only have a very small area to do a lot of stretching around. Now, professionals, they often make the mistake of relying too much on the product or the material itself, as opposed to actually relying on their skills. If you rely on your skills, then you don't have to worry so much about the product or the material. The vinyl, it all has glue. Every single brand has glue. It all sticks to whatever you want to stick it to, almost. It's just that it will only hold up to an extent. Pushing the material beyond its threshold is what a lot of professionals will do, even though they know better and they shouldn't be doing that. We should be utilizing seams and pieces more frequently. So professionals, they're not utilizing pieces or seams because a lot of times it's more ego where they don't want to say, okay, like I had to do this mirror in two pieces. I did it in one. Look at me. Wow, whoop-de-doo, right? But then sometime later, the mirror fails. Instead of maybe learning or approaching that when they knew they should have done it in more than one piece, they did it and then it causes the customer to have to come back for a repair, or maybe they don't repair it at all. But that is one of the major things that I see is more the ego gets in the way and you want to show off. And it's nice to be able to show off. Another mistake that professionals make a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this myself, is I go too quickly. So once you wrap for a long time, you don't have to think about it as much anymore. What does that mean when you wrap too quickly? Well, it means that you're going to make careless mistakes. Just because I can squeegee very quickly and cut very quickly doesn't mean that I should go at max speed all the time. Going at max speed has a higher risk of you slipping with a knife, for example, cutting a little bit too short where now the film isn't covering the edge, so the paint is exposed. You have to rewrap it, and now you're just setting yourself back in time. So that's one for going too quickly. Another one is when you're squeegeeing the vinyl, and it happens to me too when I go too quickly, is sometimes I can cause, with my squeegee, marks on the vinyl. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they don't go away. So if I went a little slower, the friction wouldn't be as much. So going a little bit slower would have helped help minimize friction caused from the squeegee, and more or less happens on matte vinyls. Matte vinyls can scuff or scratch more easily due to high friction caused by the squeegee, your pressure, and the speed that you're moving. Slowing it down prevents a lot of those scuff marks or scratches from happening. So, we'd get inside of our head, hey, I've done this day in, day out for a long time now, and you just end up going too quickly and you make mistakes like that. Other professional mistakes that I see a lot of are bandages. So when I look at vinyl wraps, I don't look at vinyl wraps to necessarily judge the person's work. I look, when I see one, to see how they wrap the vehicle versus how I would have wrapped the vehicle. I know that there's not just one way, so I'm always curious to see what other people are trying or what other people are looking to do or doing in the end. And seeing them put bandages, which means like you made a mistake, but you didn't rewrap it, which it probably should have had to been rewrapped, but instead you cut a piece of vinyl out and you tried to put it over top of the area that you made the mistake in. I mean, we all want to do it, but how good is it going to look in the end? And customers are paying a lot of money for this. So that's another critical thing that I see a lot of professionals mistake. You're gonna see the most common ones are not using enough seams or inlays or pieces, going too quickly, or putting bandages on areas of the vehicle which shouldn't have bandages. They should have just been rewrapped. Any professional, if they're a professional, they should be rewrapping a panel if you make that much of a mistake. Sometimes you can get away with doing calculated bandages that don't look bad, and I've done it myself, but we have to make sure in the end that everything is aesthetically pleasing, it looks good, and it's going to last. That's what's important, because that's what the customer is generally paying for. They're not paying for anything else. This is an aesthetic, this is a luxury. We can't take advantage of that, and it's very easy to, and this is another mistake professionals make, is take advantage of customers who are looking to spend money on this luxury and not wanting to possibly ever come back again because of the experience they had the first time or the second time. I have a lot of repeat customers, but basically my entire business is repeat customers these days. I don't even take on any new customers because people are happy. They know that I'm taking my time with the wrap. I'm not rushing through it. I could wrap a car a lot of times in 2 days, sure. I take my time with it. I give myself 4 or 5 days, making sure that they're not gonna have to come back and they're gonna get the best possible experience and wrap as far as the aesthetic goes in the end. The goal here is durability, longevity, and again, aesthetically pleasing. Otherwise, there's no reason for people to come and get this done. So it may not be 5 mistakes that I have as far as all that goes, but those are my most commonly seen mistakes that I see professionals make in the end.